Anything else that we should pay a little closer attention to when it passes us by in the movie?
Moment in Defying Gravity, just before Cynthia rips into the final big double time chorus, which she's really belting. I do these slides.
Are there any Easter eggs, musical moments, any moments that still give you chills that we haven't covered that should just get out there on record from the movie?
It's, you know, I think there's Easter eggs that no one's ever going to uncover because Steven Schwartz runs so deep. Is that what you mean? Like kind of musical?
It could be
wink?
musical, it could be anything, anything across the spectrum that you just love, or a moment you loved on set, or something musical that you're really proud of. Is there anything else that we should pay a little closer attention to when it passes us by in the movie?
Two things come to mind. I was talking about that Fender 6, old Nashville Fender 6 bass, which is basically sort of like a jazz master, but an octave down, kind of. Sort of looks like a big jazz master. So there's this moment in Defying Gravity, just before Cynthia rips into the final big double time chorus, which she's really belting. And in the movie, it's when she starts like flying around and the flying monkeys are following her. I think it's like is it an E flat minor? Maybe it's an E minor. I can't remember. I do these slides, these octave slides. And it's like intentionally a bit out of tune, especially when it goes up to the high octave because it's from the 60s, so the intonation's a bit off. And I think I triple tracked it. And it's all distorted, but you really hear it in the immersive mix. It really pops out. It makes me chuckle. It's like it's a bit loud, but no one asked me to turn it down. It's loud on the soundtrack and the stereo mix too. I can't believe they let me keep it in there, but I love that they did. I love that Steven Schwartz is cool with it. No one's even ever mentioned it. That always makes me chuckle when I hear it, but I meant it. I like that it's there. I feel like it sets it up. At the other end of the musical spectrum, and I actually just posted about this on Instagram, probably the most musically sensitive moment in the movie that makes me cry even thinking about it is that awful fucking moment when Elphaba is tricked into wearing the hat and she comes down the stairs and she realizes, oh shit, you're just trying to make fun of me in front of everybody. And then Glinda feels terrible because she was given the wand, and so she comes out and they start dancing together. And there's this really there's a piano. One of my favorite kind of piano sounds is rolling off all the high end, like really sharply filtering it, not gentle, but like kind of a 18 dB curve down to like, I don't know, 2K, sometimes a bit lower, sometimes 900 hertz. You have to play with it depending on what the notes are. If you go too low, you're going to lose the high notes. But and I very luckily once got to work with Imogen Heap, incredible artist Imogen Heap, who's a sweetheart and insanely gifted and talented and super smart. And she's a real whiz with Pro Tools. And she showed me this trick. It's not really a trick. It's a thing that she does where you can take a piano part and duplicate the piano part. And using the Pro Tools users will know what I mean by this. You use tap to transient to create edit regions between each chord, or if it's a single note part, whatever. Anytime there's a transient, then you hit Command E each time. Tap to transient, Command E, tap to transient, Command E, and just keep going all the way to get to the end. And then you highlight that whole duplicated track with all the different regions now. Then you go to reverse audio suite, select reverse, and don't do entire region. You change that to clip by clip. Hit reverse, and each clip gets flipped around. But it's still sequentially in order, right? With the way it was played. And then you might have to shift that a little bit. I usually have to shift it a little earlier in the timeline, but it is the coolest sounding effect. So like every note has the actual note reversing into it, or a chord. It is so cool. And I use it all over the place. It's all over so many productions of mine. I use it constantly. Not on every song, but I use it a lot. It's an amazing thing. And I always credit her for it. I talk about it all the time. But if you listen carefully, it's not really, I mixed it really low. I wanted it to not be distracting, but it's happening all over that really subtle piano. And there's no other sound at that moment. It's just the piano. And I gave her credit on Instagram, my little Instagram account. And I was just talking to her the other day, or we were texting each other. And I said, remember that reverse piano trick you showed me? I did it in the scene in the Ozdesk ball. And she's like, what reverse piano trick?
She doesn't even know.
She just forgot. I mean, she probably has so many crazy, brilliant techniques. She's so smart. She's like, I have like probably 500 things like that I do. But anyway, those are some fun moments for me. And then, sorry, I will shut up. My answer's been so long. And then just, I'm really proud of the drumming on it. And I will say that the Stephen Remus in particular really pushed me to drum more. Like there were plenty of drum fills on it, and he's like, it's not enough. And there were so many times where he said, I want you to go crazier, to the point where I was like, really? It's going to wreck it. He's like, please just try it. Just go crazier. And I'm so glad that he did. And he was right. He just, working with him, who has been on Wicked from day one with Stephen Schwartz, like over 20 years ago. He just has such a sense of what it needs to feel like, but he's also, just like Stephen Schwartz, he's very open to making it feel new, but he also knows how not to break it. So those guys are making me look really good, and I'm very grateful to have worked with both of them.
Greg Wells, the music producer behind the Wicked movie. That, what you just said, is why I think this is resonating so much, because it is so faithful to the original recordings, but so updated and so fresh at the same time. Greg Wells, who walked out at the end of Act 1 the first time he saw Wicked, look at him now, producing the music to the